Evening, good morning, good afternoon, everyone, wherever you are watching us from. I'm your regular host of Connect with Comfort show. My name remains Comfort Eyitayo. I'm glad you're able to join us today on this program. We aim to add value to people on business enterprise and personal growth. Each show is organized to feature special guests who are subject matter experts that helps us to shed more insights on the topic of the day. Thank you very much for being part of the show today. Our topic for today's program is a topic that is deeply personal yet widely resonant: the invisible pressure of being the first. I take that again: the invisible pressure of being the first. Many of us know the pride that comes with breaking barriers, being the first in our family to graduate from university, the first woman to lead a department, the first from our community to sit at certain tables. I can go on and on. These moments are milestones which are celebrated with joy and shared as proof that progress is possible. But behind those thoughts lies a weight that's often unspoken: the pressure to represent, to excel without falter, to open doors for others while constantly proving that you belong in the room as well. Is a pressure that doesn't wear a name tag but follows you into meetings, decision-making rooms, and even into the silence, because you are always ruminating. How do I get things right? How do I do things right? Being the first is really just about personal achievements. It's about the expectations of others, the fear of failure, and the uncharted path that must be navigated alone. It is invincible to that extent, but it is very, very real. Today, we will explore what the pressure looks like, how it shapes identity and leadership, and most importantly, how we can support one another so that no one has to carry the weight of falseness alone. So I thank you once again for being part of this important conversation today. Our guest is already in the house waiting patiently for us to keep the ball rolling. This and many more we shall do after this short break. Please remain connected. We'll be right back.
Being relevant in your field of occupation is proof that you are properly educated. When my parents and I were thinking about my university education, Bowen University Iwo was our first choice. Bowen University helps you to get the most of whatever course you're studying and also educates you on how to excel in a competitive labor market. From the day I arrived here, I knew when I would graduate. and my mind has been positively transformed since then. Thanks to my able lecturers. My name is Salome. I am a medical student, a sanctuary keeper, and a violinist at Boma University. To the medical world, remember my name.
Bowen University for excellence and godliness.
You're welcome back. Like I said before the break, we have our guests already patiently waiting in the house. Today on Connect with Comfort show, we are honored to welcome a woman of many dimensions, Omobola Olaribigbe, a vibrant force of impact whose life is a testimony to purpose, service, and relentless growth. Omobola is a serial entrepreneur and seasoned educationist, deeply passionate about using education as a tool to transform lives and unlock destinies. As an author and host of an inspiring podcast, she amplifies stories, lessons, and life-changing conversations that stirs minds and provoke action. Beyond business and books, Omobola's heart beats for humanity. She is the executive director of the Yemodupe Foundation, a dynamic non-profit committed to empowering young girls, supporting the less privileged, and uplifting marginalized voices across communities. Very, very commendable. Through her foundation and her role as project director of the PADI project, she is spearheading initiatives that mentor, equip, and elevate the next generation, one child, one youth, one woman at a time. Her work spans continents from grassroots movements in Nigeria to community-led interventions in the UK and collaborative impact across several parts of the world. She is a change agent, actively involved in numerous transformative projects designed to rewrite stories and restore hope. Omobola Olaribigbe doesn't just talk about change, she builds it, funds it, mentors it, and lives it. She represents the power of purpose-driven leadership and is a glowing example of what it means to live fully and serve greatly. Please join me in making welcome Omobola Aderibigbe, our special guest for today. Omobola, you are most welcome.
Thank you, Ma.
Appreciate you. We thank you for sparing your Sunday evening and being willing to share your vast experience with us on this very important topic. You are most welcome to Connect with Comfort show.
Thank you, Ma. Good evening, Ma. Thank you so much for having me, Ma.
Thank
I look
you.
forward to
Okay, go ahead.
this session with you, Ma. I said I look forward to having this session with you, Ma.
Thank you very much. And so do
Yes.
our online audience. So without much ado, we go straight with the first question. What does it feel like to be the first in a space where no one before you has gone?
Okay, so I'll look at it from two dimensions, and I'll use a personal story as well. It'll be very short. I hope you can hear me clearly, ma.
Sure, very clear.
Yes. Okay, so some 21 years ago, April to be exact, I just coming from the UK, and I wanted to get my transcript from Unilag because I wanted to start my master's then. And I arrived in Lagos, I think first week in April or so. And my mom passed away 21st of April of the same month. And there I had the very, very, very first responsibility of my life of taking charge of something that would take my responsibilities. Like, so me, I had to stop my dreams now. And being the first child, I had to step in into uncharted waters that I didn't even plan for. Meaning that my mother was running a school. At that point, the school was about 25 years old at that point. And I needed to step in as the first child. And coming into the school, so what I said, two dimensions. This is family first, being the first child, the pressure that comes with it. There's nobody else that's going to do it but you. Then the other part is that I entered into a place that I never thought of it in my life, that I was even going to run a school. The next thing that happens is that the school then was for the elite in the society. It had become a school whereby the environment had changed. And this is where my second first it came in. How do I turn this school that's in a low community area and turn it into a school that would be able to thrive amongst other international schools and return the lost glory of the school, because the school was in a state of comatose at that point. That was where my second first came in. So with these two experiences, it was a very scary part for me. Very, very extremely scary part. It was a lonely part. It was a lonely path. So what comes with the feeling that comes in that space is that there's a space of loneliness. The fear is there. You are scared. You are lonely. You are scared. Those two emotions you would never take away from it. That was how it was for me, man.
Okay, I thought you were still going to say something. That's why I was pausing.
I wanted to keep it
I
short
think,
because we've gone
yeah,
into.
I understand. I can, I mean, many people can identify with that. It's like they will say maybe waking up from a huge shock. You have the shock of losing your mom and the shock of being trusted into the middle of something you know nothing, virtually nothing about or you not planned for.
Nothing.
So I can understand that many people can actually identify with that. So how do expectations from others, whether spoken or unspoken, shape behavior and decision at the first?
So it's two things that can happen to you at that point. It drives you and it also weighs you down, because when you're talking about expectations, it means that for some people have some level of trust in you. That's the reason why they've given this to you. Or you yourself, you've chosen to embark on something that you know that nobody has ever done before. So with that comes the drive. But at the same time, the unspoken one is that the pressure begins to weigh on you. It weighs so deeply on you. The lonely nights, the times where you are like, is this really what I really want to do? Can I go ahead with this thing? So for me, the two things there is the weight that it brings, and then the drive that it can bring with it for you to be able to do more, because people have entrusted so much with you. I can't
Have
hear
you
you,
ever
ma.
felt have you ever felt isolated or overwhelmed by the pressure to succeed because you were representing more than just yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So many times. Absolutely. Because the representation, it also adds this invisible pressure, both because then you are looking at it that if I make a mistake with this thing, what happens? What happens to the why that I started these things? The women that have gone before me, the girls that are looking up to me, the people that I'm going to serve, you begin to think of that. How do you then marry those things? Because there's a reflection, whatever you do is a reflection of what those people bring to the table for you.
Yeah.
And then the weight that comes with it makes that loneliness feel heavier. It makes loneliness feels heavier. But there's always a way around these things. Always a way around it. And the way around it is just for you to speak up. For me, that was how I was able to come out of it. But I'll go back to that story later. Maybe if I can share it now.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay, so then what I actually did was that I quit at that particular first time that I was brought into that space to take over that school. I left the school for 10 years. I left it for, I just couldn't take it anymore. The loneliness, everything was weighing me. I was a young girl, I was about 24 years old. And I felt that no, I couldn't go on like this. But I went back to it. And how did I go back to it? I started looking for mentors. I started looking for people that had gone before me in those areas. And I reached out to them and I spoke up. And it got better for me. Hello, Ma.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, so after I'm done with, I said I had to go to small peer groups, looking for mentors, looking for people that had similar that were in similar situations that I was in, and ask them
Okay.
for help.
And that's helped.
That oh, definitely, it brought about the new strength, a new world of awakening, whereby you have people that you can always lean on.
So how can we now balance authenticity with the need to prove that our group deserves a seat at the table? Like for instance, what you are trying to, well, you may not see it as you are trying to prove something, but there's that element that let it not be seen that I've failed. Let me not fail the memory of my mother. Let me not fail maybe those teachers that were engaged and things like that. So how do you now balance that with authenticity? To say, okay, ordinarily I would have been able to do this even without having to put myself in the shoe of another.
I lost you there, ma.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. I can.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I can. I can hear you.
Okay. Okay. What I'm saying is, how do you balance the authenticity yourself in this situation, which
Mm-hmm.
you can now just suppose if you do not have to step into the shoe of your mom in this instance,
Mm-hmm.
you still have been able to achieve what you achieved.
Okay, so using the term authenticity, if I, as in the word,
Yes.
saying that it helps to prove. So authenticity for me, it it brought about trust for me because when you are true to yourself, like a woman that I follow so much will say, be true to yourself, Mrs. Ibukamoshika. To thyself be true. She always says that to thyself. And that comes with authenticity. So initially, in my second coming, that's what I call it, the second republic, just so that I could maybe feel among, I started going for trying to be like other people. Like I said, I was looking for mentors and all of that, trying to be like them. But the moment I found myself and found my voice, I chose to be true to myself. And that in itself brought about connection for me. People could relate better because I was sharing, real life stories and not coming up with just some buzzwords or creating some things in la la land. So trying to be true to myself and coming out with my true self and sharing my day-to-day life with people brought about the connection for me. So I didn't need to prove much at that point. Showing up as my authentic self was the best thing I did to myself.
Fantastic, because that's usually a challenge when it seems like you are working in somebody's shadow. You understand what I'm
Yes,
saying, and not your real self. So it's good to know that you're able to find yourself, find your voice, and that sense of identity for your own person is very, very crucial, because going
yes,
forward with what you are doing, people can then count it for you that yes, this is what she's doing as a person, not fulfilling a role. That's
yes.
what that question was trying to clarify. So, what systemic barriers contribute to someone being the first instead of there being many?
Systemic barriers. I'll say access is one.
Access to
Access
what?
and exposure. Access. Access to people, access to resources, access to it's a road that hasn't been a road that's less traveled. So you don't have a lot of people that will be able to come and tell you that this is the blueprint to work with. Yes, so there's no access to that. And of course, exposure also are huge barriers because people are not coming out to even talk. The visibility is not there. And trust me, you are not the only person that's going through that road, but but people are not taking
That's
center
okay.
stage and owning the story and
Yeah,
amplifying it. So I would say access and exposure.
that's true. That's very, very true. And is there enough support typically provided for those who are breaking new ground, or
Mm.
are they left to navigate the journey alone?
Yes. But that's what I would say. Because the thing is, the vision that you saw or the responsibility that was given to you, because you either, like when you're talking about first in the family, you didn't choose to be the first. You didn't choose it to be. That was brought upon you. But when you're talking about business or a venture you want to go into, you are the one that has chosen it upon yourself, that this is what you
Yeah,
want to do. And you are the only one that God gave that vision to. So even when you are saying it to everybody, how beautiful and all of that, nobody wants to know. It's you that has seen your vision. Some people will discourage you along the way. But the thing there is that just stick to it. You're navigating yourself alone. But whoever has given you that blueprint or that vision, call on that person. There is none. If you are waiting for anything that anybody is going to call you to help you to navigate, you are deceiving yourself. It is yourself and your God, the person that has shown you that vision. And if you are working with somebody else's vision, I'm sorry for you. But
that would be double jeopardy.
it will be. So a lot of times people are left alone, except you do the right thing first by creating, like we want to do something. There's another thing, especially with Yorubas, when we want to do something, they'll say, má ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀, wàá fọwọ́ bò jẹ ni," meaning that you don't tell people when you want to do something. And a lot of times, yes, it's true. However, a lot of times we've killed dreams with those things. Because before you go on these projects, you should have your tribe. You should create that little tribe of people that believe in you, that you can run to,
That
so
will
that
cheer you
because you
on.
are going, yes, and cheer you on, even if they don't really know what you are doing, but they are there to clap for you. When you are tired, you are able to call on them, because it's a lonely path. It is a lonely path. So that is the only way you can get to overcome that. But nobody is going to be there. You're often alone. A lot of times you're alone. Nobody sees that process. I can't hear you, ma.
I said, what strategies can we use to ensure that you are not the last after being the first? Because is there so that you don't just fall by the wayside, so that the number first does not become the last.
Okay, so you have to, one, build structures. There's nothing you want to do. Structure, 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 because what happens with structure is that, yes, some people say you have to build system, you have to build structure. People are the ones that are going to help it work. However, people that you want to take have to come into a system. They have to be there to see a structure. And at that point, they are able to help you, even if you are stuck along the way, they can carry on from there. Mentorship is another one. Visibility, you can never ever go wrong with that. Networking, those four things, I'll sum it down to those: structure, mentorship, networking, and visibility. You need that visibility. It is in that visibility that help will come. You cannot keep quiet about what you are doing. You can't. You have to create a strong network. It's like a web. You have to create that strong network of people of like minds that will be able to help you. And structure, structure, structure. Even if you've built mentorship, you've built visibility, you've built the network, and you do not have structure, trust me, it will fall down into pieces.
Very interesting. And that brings me to the next question. So, how do we mentor others or empower others so that the path that they will have to tread will be much easier than ours, so we can clear some paths for them?
Okay, so it's simple and hard at the same time. It's really about sharing knowledge. It's about sharing knowledge. So I'll say another story. So about 24 years ago, when I assumed the leadership of the school, I used to go to this meeting. Then it was called, I can't remember, but it was for school owners. I was the youngest person there at that time. There were very elderly women there. So there were people in my mom's age group. So one day I went to Superb. That those are the people that are in charge of primary education. And then I was speaking to one of the directors there. I don't know what I went to do there. The man said, and I told the man that, I met so and so at a meeting, blah, blah, blah. And I was gisting with the man. The man goes, in Yoruba, I'll translate in English. He says, kí ló ń ṣe ń bẹ̀ yẹn? Àwọn people yẹn, alákàrà kan ni wọ́n fẹ́ jẹ́ kálákàrà kejì tà. That was what that man said, meaning that those people, they will not, your progress will not, nothing will happen there. That
Yeah.
those people, they are not out for you to sell market. They are out to bring you
They're
down.
interested.
And I held
Yeah.
on to what that man said. I held on to what he said. And because of what he said, I cut off from them. So when the Second Republic came for me, I found out that the game had changed totally. People were now out to share knowledge. And trust me, the schools that we are having now, people that are out there sharing knowledge, sharing experiences of their school, not necessarily secret, but day-to-day life, talking about what is going on. It is making life better for all school owners. So back to your question that says that how do we begin to mentor? Is about sharing knowledge. Be open. Let's talk about these things that happen all the time. This is a program, and I've known of this Connect with Comfort for almost 2 years now, if I'm not mistaken. and it showed up every Sunday. I'm sure if we go to that your YouTube channel and begin to, it is you pouring into what is there for people. You are bringing different guests. So it's about sharing knowledge. All the people that you are bringing, it's them sharing knowledge. So anybody that wants mentorship, you don't need to go and pay anybody. People are selling books. People are doing podcasts. The internet is a wide place right now. So it is about sharing knowledge, and the custodians of the knowledge should not hold on to it, but share it so that the younger generation or people that are going into such uncharted waters can learn from them.
Okay, we will go on a short break now. We'll be right back to
Okay,
continue with
no
our
problem,
guest.
ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
Please,
ma'am.
our audience, remain connected. We'll be right back.
Yes.
I wanted to give up. I'm done with all the things I'm going through. I'm trying to keep my head up. I try to win, but every time I lose. Should be getting better. I try, but I don't know what to do. Hope this ain't forever. I just wanna make a breakthrough, but something inside said never give up. All of these setbacks are major setups. If I keep on fighting, if I keep on trying, if I aim for the sky, one day things will go my way. One day things will go my way. One day things will go my way. I've gotta hang in there. Deep down I know one day things will change. I can't live in fear. I know I've got to push through the pain. I've gotta believe in myself. Yeah. If it's not me, then no one else will. But something inside said never give up. All of these setbacks are major setups.
You're welcome back. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, I can.
Okay, good. Welcome back. So,
Thank you, ma'am.
I would like to know from your own perspective, what legacy would you like or hope to leave behind in your role as a trailblazer?
So I didn't hear you, ma'am.
I said, as a trailblazer,
Mm-hmm.
what legacy would you hope to leave behind?
As a trailblazer, what legacy?
Would you like to leave behind?
Okay. What legacy will I leave? Oh, yes. That I opened the doors for others.
Okay.
That the children that have been opportune to be in my classrooms, either in a formal education setting or in the informal education, that is the social impact space, is that to believe that global relevance is within reach for them, and that there are opportunities out there that they can pursue, and that the emerging leaders in my space, people that want to do what I want to do, are things I'm doing, that they would not walk alone,
That,
that there are
that's
people that have
fantastic.
gone before them and they are not
That,
alone.
that's fantastic. That will really help because, like we're talking about, how do we make it easier for those that will follow us? At least they don't have to go through all the roadblocks, if you can
Yes.
call it that, that we went through, so that it'll be much
Mm-hmm.
easier for them to succeed. That's very great. So if you could speak to your younger self, a younger version of yourself, before stepping into that first role, what would you say?
Trust the process. Trust the. I know it's a cliche. It's a cliche, but trust the process. Trust the process. It's a process. It's a
Mhm.
process. You get there. That I won't have all the answers because it's like it's a burden. If you look at it from Yorubas will say ajagani, meaning it's a burden, and I won't have all the answers. I won't have all the answers, but I will have the strength to figure them out with God on my side and with the right people around me. And I would not be afraid to ask for help. Asking for help has brought people to destruction, not being able to ask for help from the right people.
Okay.
So those three things, or those so
So
trust the process
collaboration for you is
is
not a
important.
weakness but strength.
It is, it is, it is, it is, it is.
That, that's interesting. So, what advice would you give to someone about to become the first in their field or context?
Okay, so if it's in business, you build your tribe early. Build your tribe early. You need to have people in your circle of influence who believe in your vision. I'd mentioned that earlier. You need to have
Mm,
people that believe in you. Their encouragement will carry you through. There are times that you will be in doubt about where you found yourself. It is those tribe members that will help you, that will lift you up. And your tribe members they have to be diverse people. They have to
yeah,
be diverse
different
people.
knowledge. Yeah.
And yes, and have people that you can, they can talk to you, because that's another problem. When people are yes to you all the time, people that can call you and tell you the truth, those are the people that you should have in your tribe, that would actually listen to you. It's very important. Listen to you, give you advice, and speak to you. And you yourself can listen to them when they speak. It's very, very important.
Very important. That's
And if it comes
so.
to
How do you?
family,
Mhm. Go on.
if the other part is the family, that you found yourself as the first child and responsibilities
Yeah.
have fallen upon you, at that point, the only tribe member you can have is God, that will help you. You can't satisfy everybody. You would, in fact, that one is a different, it's even different from, but it is only God. And be true to yourself and be honest and as open as possible to your siblings or to other family members that God has placed in front of you. Because that position, yes, as it's a position of grace, as overwhelming as it can be, it is a position of grace. And see it as a
Mm,
calling. See it as a calling
mm.
rather than a burden. Therefore, it is God that calls. So look to God for direction if
To
it is
to help
in
you.
the context of family. Yes.
I think you are very right. You are very right on that. So, how do we collectively create environments where no one has to carry the weight of being the only one anymore?
So
We
say
are
that again,
talking of
ma.
collective effort.
Mm.
Eh?
Say that again, ma. How do we create?
No, how do we collectively
Mhm.
create an environment where no one has to carry the burden or the weight of being the only one anymore?
That in itself is we. I don't think we can eradicate that. You people would always go through uncharted grounds. Very few people. But collectively is to listen to what they have to say, encourage them along the way in what they are doing. But carrying that burden, people would have to do it no matter what. Collectively, from us people, we will just have to keep encouraging and listening to whatever that person has to say.
So, if you were to have a parting shot on this
Hmm.
very unique topic, what would that parting shot be?
That again, trust the process, that being a first is not a mistake. That I will say. It's not a mistake. And like I said, it's a calling. Whether you brought it upon yourself, someone has given you that vision, even if you read it somewhere, but it's a calling. So it's not a mistake. And it comes with a lot of weight. It comes with a lot of weight. But be sure that that weight can be shared. It can be shared. Do not carry it alone by yourself. And it comes with a lot of grace. You are building a path that has not existed before. Definitely, it will come with so much problems and challenges and all of that. But it's something to be proud of. It's something to be proud of. It's something that you would see that you are creating paths for other people, especially when it comes to something that you are doing to change the world, to make it a better place. You would always find your tribe. And for me, you will see that it will be a blessing at the end of the day.
Thank you very much. You've actually shared
I knew this
great
family thing will
insight.
come up.
Well, in everything we do, it's a strong part
How free is the second?
of the equation. There's no running from it, and then it is what it
Yes.
is really. So from the story you shared, that is a strong family thing. Before we even talk of the business angle, so there's no how it will not it will not come true. So thank you very much for sharing great insight on this topic today. I think we have a contribution from one of our online. What about a situation where the first is not doing that of a first and face? I can't really get that very well. Face to do,
How free
or maybe
was the
first or
second?
second child.
Mm-hmm.
How Okay, you are able to see it there. Please, can you just read it out?
Yes, I
I'm
can see. He
reading the
said, what
thing.
about a situation where the first is not doing that of the first and it falls on the
Mm,
second child? I have a friend
mm,
that is currently happening too. The first child is not serious minded. They are both men. Is the second child that even the whole family sees as the first child. He's the
mm,
responsible one. He's the sensible one. The first one is not. And the second one, but what the second one has done, so they lost their father recently, and their father is a very big man in society. And they, of course, they are Yoruba people as well. The first one still wants to take the position of the first one. In some cases, the first has accepted that I'm not so serious and has gone to the second one and has accepted that that second one will work together in some cases. But in some cases,
mm,
where the first is still trying to be the first, but knows that you cannot, what you do in that case is that it's the other family members that will talk for you. It's the other ones. And if it's a case of just two siblings, that one, ó ṣe mí lọ́wọ́ díẹ̀ o, but at that point, you need to call the first and let the first know or their parents know. But in this case of my friends, the others, what they were simply saying was that it is what the second son has said. That is what they want to follow. So as long as when the second son says, and it wasn't because of money, it was just the sense of responsibility that the second child had taken upon himself for their parents. So what the second child would do is that once they've all said everything, he will now go to the first and say, okay, Olori Ebi o, this is what people have said. and will talk to him in a calm way. And he'll now give him everything and say, okay, you push it forward. Let it look like it's coming from you. That was how that second was able to win over the first child's ego,
Mm.
because everybody knew. And it was so I learned a lot from that family setting. And everything that they did, all the publications they did for their parents in the papers and everything, it was the first son's name that was there. He had no input in anything. But the second one, made him feel important. And over the time, he kind of respected that second one and understood that God just gave him that position of first. He doesn't deserve it. And there's something in the Quran. It's the second book of in the second chapter of the Quran, Quran 2:286, it says that God will not give you a burden that you cannot bear. So if you're
I
a
can
second
carry.
child, that yeah, if you're a second child and you found yourself in that position, see it as something that God has done for you and seek his counsel in wisdom, because it's only in wisdom that you are able to carry it out. You have to be wise
Very true. Very true.
to be able
I
to
think,
overcome that.
yeah, thank you very much for that response. In like manner, our other audience, both of them are usually contributors to this show.
Mm,
Dr. Abel Aseyin gave us his contribution
listen.
in line with what you are
Mm,
saying. He's saying that you
mm.
need to build a support base of those who are willing to
To
learn
learn,
and follow you,
follow your path,
to follow your
just
path,
guide them,
just guide them as.
them as a pioneer.
So, but it's more or less the same thing that, yes, it's just more or less what you just recommended in this situation of first and second child. There's another contribution from Mr. Jaisi. There's often, maybe you help me read it,
He said there's
my
often an
screen.
implicit rule that you have to be strong for everyone. Trust me,
Mm-hmm,
that's the family dynamics we found ourselves. That you have to be strong for everyone. You are the one that
yes.
gets the brunt of most of the time. It's probably in your time that your parents were rich, or it was in your time that they didn't have money.
Mm-hmm.
You saw all the suffering that they did. The bad times, it was during your growing up years. So it's just life. All these things we can't design. Even our parents can't design them. You have to
Mm.
go to God in counsel. I'm going so spiritual, but where I am in life right now, I've seen that a lot of things are just designed and by God Himself. It is going back to Him for Him to direct you as to how to go about it. You can't do it by yourself. It's not possible.
Honestly, that's really the answer. There's even some tricky situation that perhaps if you are well to do, if suddenly you are not able to say some things or be yourself, say your mind, for fear of
Yes.
being taken as
Misheard. Yes.
boastful. Is it because
Misrepresented.
you are rich?
Mm.
We don't have body, we have blood in our veins, and that kind of.
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh my God. So those are the things that's why I agree with you that we just need to seek wisdom from God
Mm.
to see us through, because that situation, there are some situations you cannot handle by your own wisdom alone. But that
At all.
example of that family, of having to involve family members, if you are lucky to still have some that are genuine, because some
Mm.
family members may even be the one that would pour
They
petrol into
play
the
double
fire for you.
agents. Mm.
God, it is well. We thank God. We thank God for your insights, and you really made the wrap up session very easy, because you've identified most points that matters. We've talked of the weight of representation as being the first, the burden sometimes, and you have enlightened us that we don't necessarily have to see it as a burden, we should see it as a calling, which is also very helpful. because that makes it easier for you to handle. If you see it as a calling, it's not something you can avoid or just wish away. Then the issue of perfectionism and fear of failure, we have to internalize demands that being the first or being a barrier breakers will bestow on us, and then we have to close our mind door to the fear of failure, because that also can be crippling. If you
Yes.
dwell too much on it, it can be crippling instead of you being able to move ahead. And like you rightly said, it's lonely at the top, just like the song of one of the popular
Ashake.
popular artists. So loneliness at the top, the emotional and psychological isolation, or being the only one in a room or boardroom organization, it can be overwhelming. So you need to navigate that environment where there are no prior templates or mentors, like you said,
Mm.
no point of reference that you can draw up from with similar situation. So you have to just find a way of navigating through. Then the imposter syndrome and validation aspect. That is recurring self-doubt. Will I be able to make it? How do I maintain the record I have? If you have been a barrier breaker, how do I maintain that record? How do I keep the position of first and let the first not be the last, and things like that? So those are silent enemy, if I can call it, at the back that
Yes.
sometimes shake our belief
Mm.
system, and then can minimize the progress that we are supposed to make. We've talked
To
about
make.
the cultural aspect and family expectation and all that. You shed a great insight on that. So once again, I will refer to the story you shared with us. That story really has a lot of wisdom in it. Navigating bias and stereotype is another thing, because, like you said, those other people that you were trying to relate with that had their own bias, and perhaps will not even be able to believe that what does this young girl think she's doing?
Yeah.
How does she think she can compete with us and things like that? So one has to know how to face hiding prejudice or undermining disguise, that's undermining disguise as curiosity or concern. Sometimes they come like they are concerned, but they just want to uh, get story to mock you or
To
laugh at
tell.
you.
Mm-hmm.
So that is that. We have to be very discerning regarding that. Breaking barriers versus building bridges is very important, and the difference between just getting in and creating sustainable um, access for others, turning personal success into collective progress, is something that we need to constantly rethink as something that we can use to help those coming behind us. It requires our resilience, the defining success, the inner strength and mental tools to help us handle pressure as they come. So all those will help us. And like you said, the call on support system, the need for mentorship, sponsorship, and safe spaces is very important in this kind of space.
Kind of
We need
situation.
to have encouraging institutions to move beyond tokenism towards inclusion and structural change. So as we come to the end of this vital conversation, that is the invisible pressure of being discussed, I hope we leave here not only more aware, but also more compassionate, being the first. whether in a family, an organization, a community, or a profession, often comes with unseen burden, the weight of expectations, the fear of failure, the isolation of trailblazers, or being alone. These pressures, though rarely spoken of, are deeply felt. But let us not forget, while the path may be lonely, it is also powerful. To be the first is to be a pioneer, and pioneers may carry weight, but also they also carry hope. Thank you for being part of this, our dear guests. I also want to use the opportunity to
Thank you.
appreciate all our people online, all
Online.
those that contributed, those that joined, keeping this show on. We thank you very much, Dr. Aseyin, Taiwo Ojo from Abuja, Mr. Jaye Simi from Femi Jaye Simi from Lagos, and a host of others that I may not have catch the name. We thank you for your sustained interest in this show, and I believe together we will continue to make impact to help those that are coming behind us. So once again, I appreciate our special guest of today,
Thank
Omobola
you, ma.
Adelibike. Thank you very, very much. We
Thank you, ma.
appreciate you. Yeah. So I hope you have all enjoyed today's episode. If so, please remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Comfort Eyitayo. Once you have subscribed, please turn on the notification button and share our videos, like I share our videos, stay updated with information about upcoming events, solutions, and offers on my Instagram account at Comfort Eyitayo, as well as my Facebook account at Comfort Eyitayo. Till I come your way again, let us commit to building systems of support, creating space for vulnerability, and recognizing the quiet strength it takes to lead from the front. For who are the first amongst us, know that your courage is not invincible. It is seen, it is felt, and it is paving way for many more to follow.
Come.
Like they say, on easy lies the head that wears
And
the
where's the
crown.
crown?
Yeah, but when you look at the impact we are making for others,
Yes.
I think
And the
everything
beautiful
becomes,
crown.
yeah,
Mm.
yes, everything becomes bearable. Thank you once
Yes.
again. God bless
Thank
us
you,
all.
ma.
Have a blessed week.
Amen, ma.
Thank you.
Yes, ma. Thank you, ma. Bye, ma.
Yeah.